When it was learned that Xiao Yan intended to clear more than 400 Emperor-level dragons by himself, Long Yuan was immediately stunned. Could it be that Xiao Yan possessed some powerful method of his own? If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. As the story continues, this junior will certainly do his utmost. Hearing this, the young man looked at Xiao Yan, whose confidence had suddenly surged, and a faint smile curved on his lips. He vaguely guessed Xiao Yan's plan. Although the plan contained many unknown factors, at least there was now a clear direction. At the side, Long Yuan said, "Don't worry. Go ahead and take out my father's item. I will deal with the two Earth sovereigns." Hearing this, the young man said, "Then, let us take out the final item left behind by the Dragon Emperor." As his voice fell, under the gaze of Xiao Yan and Long Yuan, his hand placed upon the stone stele began to emit a strange light. That power was gentle, yet it contained the majesty of the entire world. This was the manifestation of plane power. The mysterious radiance spreading from the young man's palm covered the entire stone stele. In only a few breaths, the 1,000-meter giant stele was completely enveloped. Then it gradually became illusory. This was the ability of the plane embryo to erase all things. Within its range, any substance, even life itself, was under its control. As the stone stele turned intangible, the earth trembled. Because the suppressing power weakened, those extraterrestrial fiends imprisoned below also began to stir restlessly. After more than a dozen breaths, the object that appeared at the original location caused Xiao Yan and Long Yuan to freeze in shock. It was a red flag about 10 feet long. Aside from its crimson color, the most eye-catching thing was the enormous character occupying most of the flag. Long Yuan stared at the flag that had appeared where the stone stele once stood. My father's relic is actually a flag. They are about to come out. At this moment, a sharp shout rang from the young man's mouth. Immediately afterward, the earth beneath the stele split apart. A massive fiendish pressure erupted together with a 1,000-meter black pillar shooting into the sky. Its target was the young man, the plane embryo. These extraterrestrial fiends had never forgotten their ambition from 10,000 years ago. For the plane embryo of the Du-Chi continent, they had destroyed the Emperor-slaying alliance. Now that the plane embryo stood before them, how could they not be tempted? However, just as the black pillar was about to reach the young man, a vast expanse of purple-gold radiance swept open not far away. From within it, 1,000-jang purple-gold dragon claw stretched out and blocked the young man. Then it slammed directly toward the incoming black pillar. At the same time, Xiao Yan's figure had already appeared in front of the red flag, gripping it tightly in his hand. But the moment he touched it, his expression changed drastically. A fluctuation like a soul attack surged from the flag, spreading from his palm into his mind and causing his body to freeze. His consciousness fell into an endless world of darkness. Within the darkness, Xiao Yan walked forward slowly, his gaze fixed on the figure ahead that emitted a dark gold glow. That man wore a black dragon robe. Just a single glance at his facial features made one feel the authority of heaven and earth. Was he the Dragon Emperor, ancestor of the ancient Void Dragon tribe? Xiao Yan's intuition said so. Perhaps the Dragon Emperor had left behind a fragment of a damaged divine soul imprint within the red flag. With this thought, Xiao Yan immediately knelt on one knee before the black-robed man. This junior Xiao Yan pays respect to the Dragon Emperor ancestor. You carry the bloodline of the Xiao clan, the Dragon Emperor asked. You have taken my battle flag. Do you know what a fighter is? This junior has already heard of it from the plane embryo. Hearing this, the Dragon Emperor asked again, Are you willing to inherit my will and become a fighter? This junior will try his best. I do not need you to try your best. Either you are willing, or let the will of the fighters scatter into heaven and earth. My remaining soul will soon dissipate. I will ask you one final time. Are you willing to inherit my will and become a fighter? A resolute light flashed in Xiao Yan's eyes. This time his answer was extremely firm. I am willing. Good. Fighter. Fighter. Good, good, good. The Dragon Emperor burst into loud laughter. Since you are willing to become a fighter, then do one thing for me. Plant my battle flag in the ancestral land of the extraterrestrial evil race. Kill whoever blocks you. The wild laughter echoed everywhere. The Dragon Emperor's figure completely dissipated. In midair, Xiao Yan slowly opened his eyes. Then his gaze turned forward. There, Long Yuan was using space power to firmly lock down an Earth sovereign. "Senior Long Yuan, we can begin the clearing," Xiao Yan said. Long Yuan was stunned for a moment. Then he realized what Xiao Yan meant. The clearing Xiao Yan spoke of meant completely eliminating every fiend within this space. But such an action might destroy these stone steles, and could even lead to the collapse of the entire spatial world. After all, during the clearing process, the resistance of the fiends would be impossible to predict. The information on these steles has already been completely copied, and the plain embryo possesses even more information, so they no longer hold meaning. Xiao Yan explained, sensing Long Yuan's thoughts. Hearing this, Long Yuan nodded, but he still voiced a concern. "This space may not withstand the impact of the clearing," Xiao Yan said. "Therefore, I need Senior Long Yuan to control my void-swallowing flame, forcefully seal and reinforce this entire space. As for the clearing, I alone am enough." "You alone?" Long Yuan cried out in shock. His intuition told him Xiao Yan was not joking. If he dared to say such words, did it mean he truly possessed some powerful method of his own? Immediately, Long Yuan turned to the young man. "Plain embryo, do you know how many extraterrestrial fiends are suppressed here?" The young man replied, "Excluding the 2 Earth sovereigns in your hands, the remaining Emperor-level fiends are divided into lower, middle, and upper ranks. More than 300 lower rank, more than 100 middle rank, about 30 upper rank. In addition, there are 4,000 king-level. The weaker ones have already perished during the 10,000-year seal." Hearing this, Xiao Yan said coldly, "These fiends have been suppressed for so long that their strength has greatly diminished. Clearing them will be troublesome, but not impossible." Seeing that Xiao Yan had already made up his mind, Long Yuan said, "Then let us begin." His eyes suddenly turned sharp. Purple gold radiance erupted from within his body. It instantly transformed into a 10,000 jang purple gold dragon claw that pressed toward an Earth sovereign. "That bastard once fought my father. I must personally kill him." Filled with furious rage, the purple gold dragon claw erased a mid-rank Earth sovereign. Space violently trembled on the verge of collapse. However, after completing the kill, Long Yuan vanished. When he appeared again, he was already 10,000 meters in the sky. At the same time, the void-swallowing flame merged into his body. Long Yuan waved his sleeve. An endless sea of void-swallowing flame surged out violently. "The space has been sealed. Next, use the most ruthless methods to eliminate these filth." Hearing Long Yuan's words, Xiao Yan also turned his cold gaze forward. There, a figure had already broken free from the spatial confinement. That was the corrupting evil Earth sovereign. Because Long Yuan had focused most of his energy on stabilizing the spatial world, the spatial seal around the corrupting evil Earth sovereign had loosened. Taking advantage of that moment, he immediately broke free. "A mere newly advanced Earth sovereign wants to clear us." The corrupting evil Earth sovereign sneered. "Demonic rain." A deep voice came from his mouth. Dark demonic qi spewed from his mouth, rapidly expanding into black clouds covering thousands of miles. Moments later, a rustling sound echoed. Streams of demonic rain poured down like waterfalls. Xiao Yan naturally understood the corrupting evil Earth sovereign's intention, but he did not stop it. The overwhelming demonic rain fell upon the hundreds of giant stone steles. This pitch-black liquid possessed terrifying corrosive power. It quickly dissolved the giant steles. The melting lasted only a few minutes. Then a 10,000 jang ravine split open. Countless black light pillars shot into the sky. Within each pillar was an Emperor-level fiend. More than 400 Emperor-level fiends appeared at once. In addition, Thousands of demonic shadows surged out from the ground. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan, standing in the distance, remained completely expressionless. He knew the moment for the great purge had arrived. Facing such an enormous number of extraterrestrial evil race members, Xiao Yan had only one goal. That was to eradicate them all. As the story continues, groups of fiends surged toward the sky like a dark tide. When they saw Xiao Yan, who was enveloped in flames ahead, they also saw the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign confronting him. At this moment, all the fiends that had been released from their seals understood. It was the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign who had broken their seal. Formed the 10,000 fiend array. As the fiends were released, a voice carrying the majesty of an Earth Sovereign echoed across heaven and earth. This voice came from the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign. Upon hearing his command, countless demonic silhouettes shot into the sky. Dozens of breaths later, a gigantic demonic array appeared faintly before Xiao Yan within the rolling demonic kui. This was an octagonal 10,000 fiend grand array. At the 8 outer positions of the array, 500 king-level fiends sat cross-legged at each direction. Inside the 10,000 fiend array were 3 even more complex layers of formation. The outermost layer was a hexagonal formation. At each vertex sat 50 lower Emperor fiends guarding it. The next layer was a quadrilateral formation. Each side was manned by more than 30 mid-Emperor fiends. The innermost layer was a triangular formation. This was the most stable structure. Each corner was guarded by 10 upper Emperor fiends. Although no one yet presided over the center of the formation, the terrifying aura it emitted was already enough to make any powerhouse below Earth Sovereign feel fear. This was the 10,000 fiend array. If more fiends were present, its scale could expand further, forming 16-sided, 32-sided, or even 64-sided formations. Immediately afterward, a massive figure, nearly 10,000 zhang tall, shot into the sky from the ground. It was the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign. When his body descended into the core of the 10,000 fiend array, the array instantly erupted with astonishing power. Its might was comparable to a powerhouse close to the mid-stage Earth Sovereign level. Haha, let this Emperor see what you will use to fight against my 10,000 fiend array. The corrupting evil Earth Sovereign looked at Xiao Yan mockingly. Hearing this, Xiao Yan snorted coldly. A deep voice also emerged from his mouth. Since you want to see, then I will let you see clearly. As his words fell, his hands rapidly formed profound seals. A dazzling flame rune appeared on his forehead. At the same time, an extremely terrifying flame power swept out from Xiao Yan's body. Under the wrapping of that flame, his body became increasingly illusory. It was as if his entire being was transforming into fire. Emperor Flame Body. As Xiao Yan's cold shout resounded, the accumulated flame power within his body completely erupted. Are you ready? Xiao Yan looked at the countless figures within the 10,000 fiend array. The space beside him rippled slightly. In the next instant, his figure vanished directly. Xiao Yan's sudden disappearance caused the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign's expression to change. He immediately shouted sharply, "Condense the 10,000 fiend spear. Go!" A gigantic spear of demonic qi carrying the power to destroy heaven and earth struck a point in the sky. There, a flame figure emerging from space collided with it. At the moment of impact, the demonic spear exploded instantly. Within the explosion, Xiao Yan's figure rushed out once more. His fingertip traced across the void. The dazzling flame swirling around him condensed into a delicate flame lotus the size of a fingernail. With a flick of Xiao Yan's finger, the tiny flame lotus suddenly expanded once it left him by several thousand zhang. It transformed into a 10 zhang multicolored Emperor Lotus. Seeing this scene, the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign snorted coldly. Great Demon Ring. Condense. Under his control, the demonic qi within the 10,000 fiend array churned violently. It finally formed a massive demonic ring, nearly 100,000 zhang wide. When the giant demonic ring rose from the array, Its originally enormous size rapidly shrank. Seeing the demonic ring shrink to less than a zhang, Xiao Yan was momentarily stunned. His Buddha's wrath flame, lotus, its evolved destruction, flame lotus, and even his current super version heavenly flare were all results of energy compression. But he had never expected matter itself could also be compressed. And compressed matter was even more terrifying than energy. The Emperor Lotus collided with the demonic ring in mid-air. The horrifying power produced twisted the surrounding space into a vortex. Explode. As Xiao Yan's voice fell, the Emperor Lotus exploded under the dazzling light of terrifying heat. The demonic ring was completely swallowed. 9 heavens flare. Immediately afterward, Xiao Yan waved his sleeve. A sea of flames covering tens of thousands of miles formed instantly. It rapidly contracted toward 9 specific positions. The sea of flames disappeared. Replacing it were 9 brilliant heavenly flares. Each possessed destructive power no weaker than the Emperor Lotus. As Xiao Yan slowly raised his hand and pointed toward the center of the explosion ahead, the 9 heavenly flares shot out. You want to kill this Emperor? It won't be that easy. Seeing the 9 flares roaring toward him, the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign's expression became solemn. He immediately shouted to the thousands of extraterrestrial fiends within the array, "Use your true forms." For these fiends, besides their usual humanoid form, they possessed another form, their true birth form. This was their strongest state. The true form was normally only used in life and death situations, just like Supreme Realm experts unleashing their Supreme Dharmakaya. Naturally, its combat power far surpassed their normal state. Thousands of fiend kings and demon kings transformed into ferocious colossal beasts that seemed to come from hell. These gigantic beasts gathered within the 10,000 fiend array, causing the formation to expand to millions of zhang. As all the fiends revealed their true forms, the surging demonic ki formed a gigantic ink-black sphere in the sky. Driven by the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign, the black demonic sphere accelerated toward the incoming 9 heavens flares. At the moment of collision, Xiao Yan's pupils suddenly contracted, because the first flare of the 9 heavens flares was instantly crushed upon impact. However, the flare that was directly destroyed was not without effect. When the first flare shattered, the black demonic sphere's size expanded nearly twice. The second, third, and fourth flares also collided with the sphere carrying destructive power. Although they failed to destroy the sphere, they caused it to expand to over 100 zhang. At this moment, the demonic sphere had dropped from a merged state material to a super-solid state material. But that still could not stop the destructive power of the flares. Above the 10,000 fiend array, the corrupting evil Earth Sovereign's expression suddenly changed. Xiao Yan's ferocity had exceeded his expectations. When the 6th flare collided with the already 100 zhang-wide demonic sphere, the sphere instantly disintegrated. Yet the 9 heavens flares still had 3 remaining. In the sky, terrifying heat waves from the explosion continued to sweep across. The final 3 flares pierced through the blazing shock waves and shot once more toward the 10,000 fiend array, now close at hand. Fight him to the death! Fight him to the death! The corrupting evil Earth Sovereign roared. He gathered the remaining power of the fiends, condensing it into super-solid demonic rings, which blasted toward the incoming 3 flares. However, to Xiao Yan, this no longer mattered, because the 3 flares had already entered within 100 zhang of the 10,000 fiend array. 3 demonic rings collided with 1 flare. The terrifying explosion instantly swallowed all the fiends within tens of thousands of zhang. Hundreds of king-level fiends were instantly vaporized. More than 100 nearby fiends were severely injured. Meanwhile, the other 2 flares collided with the demonic rings, and at that very moment, the entire 10,000 fiend array completely collapsed.